Hello, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Dan Costa, she is Jill Duffy, and we've got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about the top tech news of the day, we're going to answer some of your reader questions, and we are going to show you one cool thing from the lab. Let's talk about the big story of the day. This broke late last night, a report in Wired by Robert Baldwin that TiVo is getting out of the hardware business. The company's been struggling, it's got to compete against other DVR manufacturers. You dig into the story, it's not that they're getting out of the hardware business, they've just laid off 5 people in their hardware design team. This seems a little over the top.
Maybe. I mean, I think the whole movement right now with television is to go digital. Everything's going to be online. I mean, the popularity of Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these services really show that maybe we don't need this hardware stuff anymore. And if people aren't watching live TV, they don't want to record it, what's the point of having a TiVo?
And the TiVo, the hardware part of it, it's just a hard drive. And that's not really what makes TiVo TiVo. What makes TiVo TiVo is the great software, the interface, the usability. So I think that's what everybody's sort of acknowledging here. But I think they're just going to go outsource their hardware. TiVo said today they're not getting out of the hardware business. They're still going to build hardware products. So.
I wonder if what we'll see is some of that baked into smart TVs. I mean, my TV now, I don't need to have a separate device to get all the apps that I need. It's just baked right in. I kind of predict that maybe TiVo will go in that direction in the next couple of years.
I think that's a very fair point. Also in the news today, Apple has confirmed that there is in fact a bug in iOS 7. It has been there since the software launched 4 months ago, and it is causing phones to reboot spontaneously when they get down below 30% battery life, and they have a fix on the way.
I have to say, I've never actually experienced this, and I'm a pretty heavy iPhone user, but a lot of people have been waiting for iOS 7.1, which will be the next big update. So hopefully there will be even more sort of fixes and changes in that version. Do we know about when it might come out?
They did not say when. They said they're working on it, and they definitely have a fix. They think that it's probably going to be in 7.1, but it's been 4 months that this operating system has been out there, and this is the first time they've actually confirmed that there's a problem and are delivering a fix. Apple usually delivers fixes a lot faster than this.
But they also are very quiet about when they're going to do it.
Yeah, they have not promised it. Yeah. And then finally in the news today, a study by the University of Queensland in Australia about texting and walking. Dude, look where you're going. Evidently, you should not text while you walk because the University of Queensland researchers have found that slower walking speed, greater deviation from a straight path, and increased absolute lateral step deviation in conjunction with increased rotation ROM in the head in global space, reduced relative motion and greater in-phase motion of the head occurs during typing.
I love how academic that is. That's just like so over the top to say it screws up how you're walking, and probably people around you are going to be really annoyed.
Yeah.
I also love that
you can't walk straight. Is basically what that means.
Yeah. It's harder to walk like a normal person when your eyes and fingers are doing something else. I love that they also sort of push it onto texting, like we're not doing other things with our phones. I mean, half the time, if I'm staring at my phone and I'm actually out in the world moving around, I'm usually looking at a map. So I'm doing something that's useful, that's helping me get to where I'm going. I think these things, you know, they're fun to see in the news, they're fun to see academics writing about them, but I always want to take them with a big grain of salt.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also a little bit of common sense here. Somebody did a very in-depth academic report. You can read about it on PCMag.com. We've got pictures of people actually not walking straight and how it affects them, but ultimately this is pretty commonsensical.
So I got a neat reader question today.
Indeed, let's move on to our reader question.
Yeah, so she found an old article that I wrote about digitizing recipes, and she said, I have all these old notes that my mother's recipes handed down to me, and I want to digitize them, and then, this is the new piece, she wants to print them into a book. So she was asking me what she might use. I personally use Evernote for my recipes. I find it's just really flexible. There's a wonderful tagging system, so you can mark things in different tags for many different genres that they fall into. And so I thought Evernote would be good for her, maybe if that's all she was going to do is digitize them, but she wants to print them. I think she probably needs to do a full scan, and Neat actually has some new features where they're going to start supporting recipes soon. I'm not sure if that's quite out yet, but the Neat desktop scanner that helps you kind of go paperless is really good at just feeding those recipes in. And then I think for the print version, I've had some good success with Shutterfly products in the past, so I recommended that service to her.
Yeah, very good. I'm also a big fan of Blurb. Blurb has some great templates. As long as you get good scans and you can pick a template that'll work with those images. I love Blurb's finished products too. And they're nice, high quality. They're not too expensive.
Hardbound?
Hardbound.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so really good stuff. So you can read more about that on PCMag.com. It is now time for one cool thing. We test thousands of products here in our lab in New York City. Every day we take one thing off the shelf and show it to you live. Today, that thing is one of the very few 5-star reviews we've published. It's the Sony Cyber-shot DSC-RX10, we're just calling it the RX10. It is a sort of a bridge camera, somewhere between it's a fixed lens camera, so although it looks like a DSLR in a lot of ways, that lens actually does not come off. So it's a fixed lens, but it's a very flexible lens. It's 24 to 200 millimeters. It's a 20 megapixel sensor. It's only a 1-inch sensor. It shoots 1080p video at 60 frames per second. And Jim Fisher, our camera analyst, was blown away by the image quality on this. He was actually really surprised. I don't think he had high hopes for it, and it blew him away.
Yeah, it's a nice camera. I got to say, it's pretty nice in the hand. I mean, it's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's kind of comfortable to wrap your fingers around too. It's nice looking.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not cheap. It's $1,300, so that is not going to be an easy camera to pay for necessarily. But we call it a bridge camera because it's really great for people who buy DSLRs because they want really high quality pictures. But then when it comes to actually shooting, they never move beyond the kit lens.
They need those settings.
Yeah, they just use they use the standard lens, but they want to have a little bit of flexibility, and that's what this camera really excels at. You can read the full review on PCMag.com. It's a 5-star review, which means it is a pretty phenomenal product.
Jim is not very handy with those 5 stars, I gotta say.
No.
So this is a special camera.
Very stingy.
Yeah.
That is PCMag Live for today. I'd ask you to leave us comments in the comment section on YouTube, and we may read them on the air. Jill, thanks for joining me.
See you next time.
See you tomorrow.